Hey, Wolfpack. So it is time for us to start talking about the PTA Reflections contest. This is the 2021-2022. Each year, you guys know that I talk about this. I work with PTA on getting your entries, so we're going to start there. If you would like to follow along on this presentation or have the links that I'm looking for, you can go to bit.ly/2021 PTA Reflections, okay? And that's at the bottom of the screen. So first off, what is the Reflections Contest? This is an arts program that PTA has been working with for over 50 years in order to encourage students to have a creative outlet in the areas of its dance choreography, film production, literature, music composition, photography, and visual arts. And they always give us a specific theme to do. And this year, our theme is I will change the world by. Now, your goal is to answer the question in one of the 6 categories. Okay, I will change the world by. So what are the 6 categories that you can enter in? I'm going to do a brief overview of this, but I'm also going to, in the email that you're getting, I'm also going to send you a link to all the rules for each category so that some of the little details that I'm not going to tell you about are in there, so you have every detail that you need. First off, on the dance choreography, a solo or ensemble works of all dance styles are accepted. The entrant must be the choreographer and may also be one of the performers or the performer or one of the performers. If the background music is used, make sure and cite your information on your entry form, and your video file must not exceed 5 minutes or 1 gigabyte in size. You'll see the accepted formats there. Packaging, it must be a flash or a disc inside the envelope with student entry, and be expected to not get this back. Do not make it a flash drive that you have to have for another project. Make sure it's something that can be turned in. On the film production, it's many of the same rules on this. They're accepted short film styles, including animation, narrative, documentary, experimental, or media presentation. Use of PowerPoint is prohibited. The entrant must be the screenwriter, cinematographer, editor, and producer. So you have to pretty much do everything, except you can use other people for the production. Like if you're using different people to act it out or in the documentary, that's fine. If background music is used, you must cite it on the entry form. The file size does not exceed 5 minutes and 1 gigabyte in size, and the accepted formats are there. Again, I will need a flash drive or a disk inside an envelope with your student entry form. And again, this must be a flash drive or disk that can be taken by me. On literature, this is where we move into the more paper documents. Accepted forms of fiction and nonfiction include prose, poetry, reflective essay, screenplay, play script, narrative, and short story. You may write in your primary language as long as an interpretive English translation is also attached. So if you write it in one language, just make sure you have the English version also attached. Use of copyrighted material is prohibited. This must be written by you. Writing must not exceed 2,000 words and may be handwritten or typed. I do encourage you to type it though, because sometimes handwritten stuff cannot always be written, and that loses a little bit if they're having to figure out what you wrote. Accepted format is single-sided on 8.5 by 11 paper. Packaging, I will need 2 copies of the literature inside a folder with student entry form attached to the outside, so 2 copies. Music composition. All music styles and combinations of instrumentation are accepted. I have had students turn in just instrumental, and I have students turned in a song that they wrote and they performed. You must be the composer. You may also be the performer or one of the performers. So if you write music, if you do an instrumental version and you're one of the people who is performing, that's fine if you have a couple of other people, but you need to be at least one of the performers. Use of copyrighted material is prohibited, so you cannot take up someone else's music. Audio file must not exceed 5 minutes or 1 gigabyte in size. Again, here are the accepted formats. A printed notation, a score, is only required for middle and high school divisions, so that's us. So if you write the music, or if you write or the word, you must have it written out on a I must have the score to go with the performance. Packaging, it must be a flash drive for the performance or a disc inside an envelope, and you must also attach the score to that. Photography, the photo must be a single print. We're not going to have multiple pictures on there. Collages and collections of photos are not accepted. So that means it's a single picture. It's not multiple pictures in one, it's a single picture. You must be the photographer and may use a variety of digital editing techniques, including but not limited to multiple exposure, negative sandwich, and photogram. The use of copyrighted material is prohibited. A print image dimensions must be no smaller than 3 by 5 or no longer than 8.5 by 10. Your final product must be not larger than an 11 by 14 inches with matting. So you're going to put the photo on a mat, which means it's got a little bit of a area around it. I can help with that if you bring it to me. Framed picture prints are not accepted, and you must attach the student entry form to the back with a sheet protector. Visual arts. Accepted forms of visual art include 2D original print, drawing, painting, collage, and that means cut and pasted materials such as clippings and photos, metal etching or punch work, fiber work, or a computer-generated artwork. Frames and artwork containing loose materials are not accepted. I'm thinking shadow boxes and things that are loose in it. Matting is accepted. Dimensions must not exceed 24 by 30 inches, including mat. Paper entries must be mounted on sturdy material. I'm thinking poster board or something that's a little thicker than just regular paper. Packaging, attach student entry form to the back with a sheet protector, cover front of artwork with butcher or light paper, and securing it to the back of the artwork. The idea is so it protects your artwork in case so that nothing accidentally gets put on it. So what are the guidelines? Okay, to enter. So after you create, whoever is entering the contest must be a Trent PTA member. Either their parent or the student must be a PTA member. You must be the original, it must be original artwork from you. The student must be the artist, must be the writer, must be the musician. They have to be, it has to be original to them. All entries must have a title and an artist statement. We'll talk about artist statement in just a second. Use of copyrighted materials is not acceptable. That means you cannot take someone else's work and rework it, make it sound like you. It can only come from you. This cannot be partner work. It must have only one creator, and entry forms must be signed by student parent. We want them knowing that you're entering this, okay? Now, here are some of the frequently asked questions that I have. First off, when are the entries due? They are due no later than Friday, October 29th. I will take them from now until then, but I will not take them after. There is no exception to this rule. We have to get them judged to see what can move on. And so there is no exception to this rule, Friday, October 29th. How do you turn them in? If you're a face-to-face student, you're going to hand them to me in the library. I will have a place that I'm collecting them. If you're virtual, on top of the book drop in the front foyer, you're going to see a box that says PTA Reflections, and you can drop them there, or you can hand them in at the front office. Can you enter more than one creation? The answer is yes. You can enter, if you have a photo that you want to enter, as well as a musical creation that you want to enter, as well as an artwork or literature, you can enter as many times as you want, but each entry has to be a completely separate form and have and must be completely separate from each other. You can't hand me 3 stories under one Reflections entry form. It has to be, a form has to be with each. What is needed beside my creation? All entries must include an attached entry form. You can get a paper copy from me in the library, or you can print it off from this email. I'm going to have it attached. What is an artist statement? The artist statement is how you communicate what inspired the work, how it relates to the theme, and the content of the work. And so it's basically your why. Why does this actually answer the question? Answer the theme. How does it do it? Sorry. The statement must include 10 to 100 words. I will tell you that if you're doing a photo, music, if you're doing dance choreography, if you're doing a film, things like that, those are probably going to have the longer statements, the 10 to 100 words. Whereas your literature, they might have a shorter statement because a lot of the theme you're answering within your literature. So just kind of keep that in mind. So if you've got the link to this presentation, you can go to this last slide and you can click on any of these 4 things. All of these are also going to be attached in the email that you are getting. So if you need to look at any of these, you're more than welcome to. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at lassleyh@friscoisd.org, and I will answer any questions. And if I can't answer the question, I will find out for you. Thanks, and I have a fun day creating.